Why can't you forget them? You pray, you try to move on, you distract yourself, but this person keeps coming back, again and again, as if your mind refuses to let go, as if something or someone is trying to tell you there's a reason for all this. What if it's not just your heart that's clinging on? What if it's Allah Himself who allows this persistent thought? What if this obsession isn't a weakness, but a sign? A hidden call to look deeper, not at this person, but at the one who put this person in your mind? Hang in there, because what you're about to discover in this video could change the way you view this connection forever. 1. The reminder of the heart. Sometimes you wake up with this person in your thoughts. You fall asleep thinking about them, and despite all your efforts, you can't seem to move on. It's not just a habit, nor a whim of the soul. It's deeper. It's as if the memory of her has lodged itself in a silent corner of your heart and refuses to leave. You can ignore notifications, cut off calls, block networks, but there's one thing you can't block: the thought your heart has decided to keep alive. And then a question begins to emerge. Why her? Why him? Why now? What if it's not simply emotional attachment, but something greater? Something only your soul recognizes, but your mind doesn't yet understand. In Islamic understanding, the heart, al-qalb, is not just an emotional center. It's a spiritual organ. It is influenced by what you eat, what you watch, what you feel, but above all, by what your nafs desires and what your Lord wants to teach you. When a thought persists, when a person continues to haunt your nights and color your days, it may be a divine way of speaking to you. Allah doesn't need words to remind you. He can use a voice, a silence, a pain, or even a memory. And sometimes, this memory takes the form of a face, a name, an energy you can't define, but which is there, constant, alive, heavy, sweet and painful at the same time. Perhaps it's not a distraction. Perhaps it's not a trap. Perhaps it's a reminder, a way for Allah to bring you back to a forgotten intention, to a lesson not learned, or to a dua you made but neglected to answer. Because yes, sometimes the reminder doesn't come through a verse, nor through a material ordeal. It comes through the heart, and Allah, in His perfect wisdom, knows that some reminders can only be conveyed through emotion, through that silent pain you feel when you think of that person, through that feeling that you can't let them go, without even knowing why. What if that persistent thought wasn't there to make you more attached to them, but to tear you away from what you believed to be love and bring you back to what purification truly is? The heart, when it is too silent, falls asleep. But when Allah sends a persistent thought, it may be to awaken it, so that it remembers, not the person themselves, but what that person reveals in you. Your need to understand, your need for meaning, your need for Him. So instead of running away from this obsession, observe it, dive into it. Maybe she's not here to hurt you, but to heal you. 2. Divine hikmah, what you don't see. You wonder why this person haunts your thoughts again and again. You think it's an excess of emotion, a lack of control, an open wound. But if you look deeper, with the eyes of your soul, you'll discover that there is a hikmah, a divine wisdom, hidden behind this silent obsession. Allah allows nothing without purpose. No heartbeat, no thought, no pain exists without meaning. When your mind constantly returns to this person, perhaps it's not them you're seeking, but yourself. What you feel is a symbolic language, an invisible code, a hidden truth that your soul is trying to make you read. What if this person weren't a desire, but a mirror of your unhealed wounds, of your need for recognition, of your quest for wholeness? And Allah, in His Rahmah, sometimes places this mirror where you are most vulnerable,
so that you can finally see what you have refused to see for too long. In spiritual symbolism, every attachment hides a flaw, and every flaw is a door. You don't think of this person by chance. They may be the living symbol of a greater need, the need for love, unity, value, peace. And Allah sometimes uses symbols to push you to decipher what you have never been able to express in words. When you feel this constant mental presence, ask yourself, what is Allah trying to make me understand through this person? Is this an invitation to purify yourself, to readjust your priorities, to heal your inner self, or to identify what you have sought in others instead of seeking it in your Creator? Human love can be a mercy, but it can also be an illusion if you project expectations onto it that no human being can fulfill. And perhaps that's what hikmah is. Allah shows you that it's not love you're pursuing, but peace. And that this peace, this sakinah, will never come from another heart until yours has been reconnected to its source. You can't stop thinking about it, not because this person is your destiny, but because this thought is your message. An inner reminder that something within you is asking to be aligned. An emotion shakes you, not to attach you more, but so that you understand what you're still chained to. Allah educates hearts in 1,000 ways, and sometimes He teaches them through absence, through waiting, through lack, so that you learn to differentiate what your nafs wants from what your soul craves. Perhaps it's not love that's being tested. It's your attachment. It's your ability to let Allah guide you, even when your heart thinks it knows better. 3. Attachment versus dependence. Look at yourself. You say you love Him. But be honest. Is it really love, or is it simply the fear of being alone? Is it a pure connection, or a need to fill a void you refuse to face? In our spirituality, there is a clear distinction between what nourishes the soul and what parasitizes it. Love, true love, elevates you. It purifies your intention. It brings you closer to Allah, makes you gentler, more aware, more present in your faith. But what you feel today, does it bring you closer to Him? Or does it prevent you from breathing, from praying, from living? You see, the danger doesn't always come from the person you're with. It comes from what you expect from them. You've clung to an idea, an image, an illusion. You don't need this person. You just want the pain to stop. And you think they're the solution. You believe that if they come back, if they love you, if they choose you, then everything will be better. But that's not true. That's not love. That's emotional dependence. You don't want this person. You want to escape your inner emptiness. You want to escape the silence you feel when you have no one to think about, and that's why you cling. But the problem is that you're clinging to a creature when your heart was created for Allah, not to become a slave to your need. Allah is Al-Ghani, the self-sufficient. And it is precisely because He is the sufficient that He doesn't want you to give in to a dependence on that which is limited. Even if the relationship is beautiful, even if this person is pious. Because if your heart makes it a vital need, it will become an inner idol, and sooner or later, it will break you. The reminder here is brutal but necessary. Sometimes what you feel isn't a sign that this person is the one. It's a sign that you've forgotten yourself too much. That you've defined yourself through an external perspective instead of finding your center in the one who never abandons you. You seek to be chosen, loved, validated, but Allah has already placed all of this within you. He's waiting for you to return. He's waiting for you to realize that no one can fill this void except Him. Perhaps you can't forget it, because you refuse to remember the one who created you. You run away from pain, but this pain is your lesson. It teaches you where you've placed your hope. It teaches you that you have given to another person what belongs only to your Lord. Attachment is healthy when it is aligned with Allah. Dependence, on the other hand, consumes you. And if this pain persists, it may be because your soul is crying out to be freed.
4. The test of the heart. When Allah tests you with love. Allah knows what makes your heart beat faster. He knows the name that makes it race, the look that soothes you, the voice that extinguishes all your fears. And sometimes, He decides to test you exactly there, where you are most vulnerable, where your attachment becomes silent prayer, where your love becomes an inner sanctuary. You think it's love. You think it's noble, sincere, pure. But Allah sees what you don't know. He sees if this love is a bridge to Him, or a veil between you and His light. And when He tests you through this person, it's not to humiliate you, it's to purify you. You may want this person with all your being, but perhaps Allah wants above all for you to want yourself as His servant. May you return to Him, stripped of illusions, humble and broken, so that He may rebuild your heart with solid foundations, not on the shifting sands of emotions. What you're experiencing isn't just romantic frustration, it's a heavenly test, a burning mirror that reflects your true priorities. And the question it poses is clear. Are you capable of loving Him more than you want this person? Can you say, "Oh Allah, if she's for me, make it easy. But if she takes me away from you, then keep her away from my heart, even if it breaks me"? It's not easy. It's never easy. For the tests of the heart are those that lay bare your true faith, not the one you flaunt, but the one you live, in the silence of the nights when you cry, in the secrecy of your thoughts when no one is watching. Love becomes a test when you refuse to place it in the hands of Allah. And Allah doesn't send this test to destroy you, but to elevate you. He wants to see, does your heart still belong to Him, or is it already captive to another? And sometimes it's in heartbreak that you find your light again, in the loss that you rediscover your lack of Allah. Sometimes being away from someone brings you closer to your Creator than their presence ever could. Allah is the one who heals. But before that, He reveals the wound. He brings it into full light. He presses where you thought you were strong. And in this pain, you rediscover your need for guidance, to be soothed by something other than a human voice. It's a test, but it's also an invitation to choose Him again, despite the tears, despite the waiting, despite the pain. Because it is only when you pass this test with sincerity that you become capable of receiving a love that will never again turn you away from your Lord. 5. When it's a sign, not a distraction. What if this persistent thought wasn't a whim of your heart, but an echo of your destiny? You try to divert your mind. You force yourself to think of something else. But it comes back again and again, not like pain, rather like a discreet, almost familiar presence, like a written trace elsewhere which your soul remembers even before your memory understands. There are thoughts that Allah does not allow without wisdom, faces that imprint themselves on your mind silently, names that pop up in your du'as without you understanding why. And sometimes it's not a distraction, but a silent sign, a gentle breath in your soul, as if to say, this person is not a coincidence. They are written. But the sign is not a license to obsess. This is not a green light to lose yourself in waiting, nor to escape reality. It is a call to calm, to trust. It is a seed planted by the one who knows the end before the beginning. And your role is not to force the flower to bloom. It is to entrust it to the supreme gardener. Do you want to know if this is a sign? Observe your state. Does this thought uplift you, purify you, bring you back to Allah with sincerity? Or does it exhaust you, drain you, distance you from prayer and inner peace? because what comes from him, even if it shakes you, always ends up rebuilding you. What comes from him makes you more stable, gentler, deeper, never confused, never extinguished. Divine signs are not loud. They don't knock at the door screaming. They whisper. They take root in your silence. You feel them in your prayers. You taste them in a nighttime dua. You recognize them in a coincidence too perfect to be mere chance. And sometimes that persistent thought is just that, a subtle answer to a question you've never asked out loud. But Allah, He heard it, and He answers it as He always does, with wisdom, with gentleness, with timing. So don't fight what you feel, but don't get lost in it either. Remember, a thought can be a sign, but it is submission to Allah that gives it meaning. Pray. Make your dua to Him with an open heart. And above all, surrender to tawakkul. Let that thought rest in His hands, not in your mind, because if it's a reminder, then it will never come to distract you. She will come to align you. She will come to prepare you. She will come to teach you that sometimes what you think is a distraction is actually a decree along the way. So what you're feeling isn't a coincidence. It's not a punishment. It may be a spiritual doorway, one that only this person has allowed you to notice. But remember, Allah often tests you with what your heart desires most. This person isn't the one you should pursue first. It's Allah. And if this person is truly for you, they will reach you, not because you held them back, but because Allah wrote them for you. If this message resonated with your heart, save this video, share it with someone who needs it, and most importantly, take a moment to make a sincere dua, because this kind of reminder never comes without a reason.